Today you become man and wife, fulfilling the sunnah as way of life. Today you find serenity, may your life be filled with sincerity. There is no happier day in your life than the virtue of being man and wife. There's joy without any end. Allah's blessing on this day does descend. Nikahun mubarakun, zawajun mubarakun, an-nikahu min sunnati, ma qala an-nabi huwa sahih.
تقبل يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome again. The fourth class by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings in our marriage course, and we will go right away inshallah to the a quick review of what we covered last time towards a happy marriage inshallah. As you mentioned, inshallah, this will be 6 lectures, so 2 lectures remaining, inshallah. And next Saturday, inshallah, I'm going to ask you at the end of the class today. Next Saturday, we have the fundraising for Keri Masjid at 5, inshallah. So we're going to make it in the morning. And we're going to make it a little bit longer, since it will be in the morning, and since we're 1 lecture behind. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, I'm going to ask you at the end to see the availability. Most likely we can make it from 10 to like 1 or 2. From 10 to 2, like a seminar, so that we catch up with what we missed inshallah. The very first lecture we covered why this course. To please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Islam calls us to establish and support families, and because our communities suffer. The divorce is going up, the family is under attack, the weak preparation, the families in the other communities are affecting our Muslim families. Also, we learned about the rulings of marriage. We have 5 rulings, either it's obligatory or permissible or preferable or forbidden or makruh, disliked. And we also covered the motives or the reasons for marriage. In the second lecture, we talked about how to prepare for marriage, the psychological preparation. Marriage is responsibility. We talked about the duties and the rights. I have a detailed one that we go to it. So when we talk about the psychological preparation, first thing we said marriage is responsibility. And I would like to mention these statistics before we go on about responsibility. We made a quick questionnaire. We have 10 men out of 30, 10 men out of 19 men. They chose taking care of the house and the kids as their number 1 need for the marriage. So the sisters have to know, and the wives have to know that the number 1 motive or the number 1 need that the spouses want from their wives is to take care of the house and the kids. That is 10 out of 19.
What sample? Is that the one that you sent out?
The one we did, yeah. We have 33 people. Among them, 19 are men. 10 of them, they chose number 1. When we asked them, what do you want from your wife? They said taking care of the house and the kids. 9 women out of almost 14, they chose showing love and respect as number 1 need for them. So the men have to understand and pay attention. They don't want only from you to bring them food and drink. They want you to show them love. Number 1, 9 women, they chose this. So this is like more than 60 or 70%, right, Sheikh? Now 3 out of 14 women, 3 out of 14 women, their first need was security from divorce. Another very important thing you have to know as a husband and as someone who's planning to get married, inshallah. 3 out of 14 women, their number 1 concern or need is that they feel security, that you don't keep threatening them of divorce. You don't divorce them. See, this is very important thing to know before you get married. 4 of those 14, so 3 of them, they chose this as number 1. 4 of those 14 women, they chose that as their second need. So as you can see, 7 out of 14, like 50%, right? 50% they're requesting this. Of course, some of them, they requested this as a third need or fourth need. Now we have 9 out of 33, they put holding responsibility as number 2. Holding responsibility of whether the wife or the husband, both of them, we have 9 out of 33, all of them they put to hold responsibility for the family. 4 of them they put it as number 1. 4 people out of those 33 they put holding responsibility as number 1. As you can see, it's about responsibility. As we mentioned, if you can summarize marriage in one word, if you summarize it, it's about responsibility. If you're ready to be responsible, get married. If you're not, go train yourself and how to be responsible. So we talked about the duties and the rights of every spouse. We talked about marriage requires sacrifice. Marriage requires you to be willing to tolerate the difference of opinion. And we said marriage is about tranquility and sakina. We talked how to raise responsible kids, and these were the main points we covered about marriage. Marriage is sakina, it requires responsibility, etc. Now, how to choose your spouse. How to choose your spouse. Today's lecture, inshallah, we're going to start how to choose your spouse. Number 1, we're going to start with advice for those who are already married. Before we start, this is extremely important lecture after you got to know your motives for marriage, after you got to know, is it now obligatory on me to get married or preferable, or you got to know what's the ruling of marriage regarding you and the motives that move you to get married. Now you want to choose, right? You want to go and get married. How do you get married? You just see a sister, mashallah, she looks nice. You send someone, you get her number right away, you send your mom right away, what do you do? Or a sister, she finds a brother, mashallah, he has PhD and mashallah, he has a good job right away. She tries to have some connection or whatever. Or the father, right away, he tells him, for example, sometimes, which is a good thing, of course, as a husband, as a father, to find and even to ask someone that you think he has the qualifications to get married to your daughter. Some communities, they consider this like shameful. No, it is good. It is something good. If a father finds someone who is suitable for his daughter, that is a good thing. To tell him in an indirect way or even direct way that I see you a good boy and I would like to offer you my daughter, if you like, come and see her, etc., etc. So that is not something bad at all, if he meets the qualifications. Before we get into those conditions, those requirements that you must find, at least some of them, you must find in your future spouse, let's give a quick advice for us as married ones. For the married ones, because now they're going to start, she did not have this quality, he didn't have that quality, what should we do? Let's see what you have to do. Number 1, be pleased with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for you, and know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change everything immediately. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, He controls everything, right? We're not going to use this a lot, just very few slides, so you can just tilt it like this. Barakallah. So, be pleased with whatever Allah has given you. Khalas, she doesn't have that quality, you don't have that quality, all of us have mistakes, all of us have shortcomings. So let us now try to show satisfaction with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qadar to us and work on improving your spouse's qualities. How? By good example, by advice, and by dua. Extremely important, dear brothers and sisters. We always should always be in a process of improving our personality. And anyone who thinks he has reached perfection, this means he has reached arrogance, and he has failed, because we always have to improve our personalities and our relationships with Allah and with others, with each other. So working on improving your spouse's qualities by good example. Sometimes you show the good example, then your spouse will change. Sometimes you need to tell them the advice. Sometimes dua, all of them, work with all of them together. And very important point, the last thing is commit with your spouse. Commit with your spouse to attend what? A circle of knowledge and a circle of dhikr. This is wallahi the most important. When you and your spouse, when you have your spouse and you take your family and you attend a lecture like this one, or any other lecture, alhamdulillah, we have lectures for all ages, for different topics, every week, more than one. If you don't have a source of knowledge, sometimes you cannot explain to your spouse. You can just tell the sheikh, maybe he can sneak, he can put that idea that you're looking for inside one of his lectures. He can accommodate what you want, right? So it will go through, right? It's very important. So when both of you hear it and both of you attend and both of you learn, this is wallahi extremely beneficial. And I have found this with my wife. By Allah's blessings, we have attended the lectures of our Shaykh, the Grand Mufti, the late Grand Mufti of Syria, and his students, like for at least 6 years. So we always remember together. You remember what the Shaykh said the other day? You remember? So we're helping ourselves, right? It's extremely important. That is number one, knowledge. What is more important is a circle of dhikr. To sit and to purify your heart. To sit and to clean yourself. To sit and strengthen your soul. Sometimes we all know this is wrong, this is right. We all know so many things haram, still we do it. We know that our spouses have rights, still sometimes we don't give them their rights. Why? Because our souls are weak. Our shahawat are pulling us down. So we have to strengthen our soul, our connection with Allah. How? By dhikr. By sitting and reflection. And this is why before every lecture we have some time for dhikr. So those are extremely important points, inshallah. For those who are already married, try to apply them, inshallah. Now let's start right away. The 7 main qualities for your future spouse. The 7 main qualities that your future spouse should have. Now these qualities, before we go into them, now I'm just going to mention the one by one. So the first quality is religion. Before I get into those qualities, this is a disclaimer that we're not saying every single one of these is mandatory, is a must. Sometimes one of them or some of them you can skip. We're going to talk about this now. This is number one. Number two, as a servant of this religion, I have to be clear, okay, and I have to be direct. And there's no time, honestly, for a lot of explanations because this is like a crash course. So I'm going to be direct, and I don't mean to offend any brother or sister who's watching or who's here or anywhere. We have to be clear and explain this religion, even if sometimes we're a little bit far, but we have to remind ourselves of the basics in our religion. Number one, religion. Before anything, religion. We mentioned at the last lecture that religion is number one thing you must. This is a must. You see her beautiful, you see him rich, you see him famous, whatever, that all doesn't matter unless you see their religion. We mentioned very briefly, a Muslim brother can marry or cannot marry any non-Muslim girl except for Jews and Christians who are chaste. The Quran mentions this condition. They have to be chaste Christians or chaste Jews. Right? There must be chaste. There must be girls who are modest, who are known for their modesty and chastity. So it's not like any Jew or Christian. No. We have to be careful. So any non-Muslim woman is forbidden on the Muslim man except for Jews and Christians who are chaste. Okay? And this is by agreement of all of the Muslim scholars with no exception. No exception for this. Now still, when Allah permits something doesn't mean He's encouraging you to do it. No, it is permissible, but it is disliked according to the vast majority of the Muslim scholars. It is disliked to get married to a non-Muslim woman. Disliked, meaning Jews or Christians, right? Why? Because she's gonna most likely, as we have seen, honestly, from the small community that I get to know, I know at least 6 families, they got married to Christians, they either divorced, or either they got married to another one. You find his daughters, they're not committing to the basics of Islam, not committing to hijab, not committing, you see their boys, they're not praying, etc., etc. Why? It's very simple, because the mother is the one who's going to take care of the kids most of the time. She's going to raise them, and I'm sure if she's a Christian, she's going to raise them as Christians, right? She's not like, teach them Islam. How she's going to teach them Islam? So you have to be careful of this and be aware of this. Now, as for the man, we said, as for the Muslim girl, sorry, it is completely forbidden to get married to any non-Muslim man, Jew or Christian or anyone. It is completely forbidden for a Muslim girl to get married to any non-Muslim man, even if he's like an ideal person, even if he has the greatest morals on the earth. No, because usually the wife will follow her husband. Usually she'll be influenced by him. Usually, etc. So many reasons. He does not even believe in your religion. He does not even respect your prophet. He does not even recognize your book or prophet, etc. Many other reasons. So the Quran mentions this very, very clearly. I would like to share with you before we get into. So this is number one. Religion is number one. Before you go, if this is like John or David or whatever, before, once you know from their name, from their background, whatever, they don't meet this condition right away. You don't even receive them. You don't even host them to come and like propose, or right from the beginning. You cannot do that. Even though you might find some sheikhs, if you like want to disobey Allah, some sheikhs, as I saw a Canadian imam in one of the synagogues, he's showing the flexibility, and the openness of Islam and mercy, etc., and the moderation. So he's saying it's forbidden, but I make marriage for a Muslim lady to a non-Muslim man. He has a new religion. That is his own religion. That is not Islam. Okay, that is not Islam. We cannot change our religion to please others, right? This is Allah's religion. It's not your religion. So that is number one. Sayyiduna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, someone came to him named Marthad. This person, Marthad, he used to help the captives who were in Mecca, to take them and help them go to Al-Madinah al-Munawwar. And when he was one day there, as in the authentic narrations, he heard someone calling him from behind in a moonlit night, telling him, "Oh Marthad, why don't you stay with us this night?" He looked, he found that it was Anaq, a lady that he used to love in the Jahiliyyah time, and she's like a prostitute, and he used to have relations with her. Then listen at this great Sahabi. Listen, see how Islam changes personalities of people. He said, but Islam forbade adultery. Right away. Subhanallah, this is very strong reply. No one is seeing him, it's the night, and a beautiful lady, she's calling him, "Come, stay this night with us." This is a person who will be given shade on the day of judgment, right? A person who has been called by a beautiful woman, then he said, "I fear Allah." Right? So he said, Islam forbade adultery. Then she said, "I'm gonna call people to come and catch you," because he was smuggling, he was helping the people, the Muslim captives, to go to Al-Madinah. Then he started running away, and he fell, and he was able to flee. And when he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, أَأَنْكِحُ عَنَاقًا? Can I marry her? What does that mean? Means he loved her, right? Means he loves her. But he loves Allah more. He loves the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam more. So he preferred Allah's love and the Messenger's love to his own desires. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him no. He told him to wait, then the ayat were revealed that it is forbidden for a believer to get married to a pagan and non-believing woman. So, before we get into the second one, I would like to share with you some very quick study by, it's a master thesis in Oman University by one of the sisters. In her master's thesis, she made a study about 100 women who were divorced. 100 women. 50 of them, they were divorced before having the relation with the man, and 50 of them were divorced in the first year. She searched and she made a study on the reasons of those divorces. Imagine 42% of the reasons were the wrong choice of the husband, of the spouse, of the husband. They found that they did not choose the right husband. 42% of them. And 30% of the divorce was because of the interference of the families in their marital problems. We're going to talk about this inshallah at the end, in the last lecture or second last lecture. And third reason is 29% not taking responsibility. Like the husband is irresponsible. As you can see, responsibility. As you can see, choosing how to choose the spouse. So they did not know how to choose. 42% of those divorces were because of not choosing the right spouse. So you're supposed, in the engagement time, you're supposed to figure out these characteristics that we're going to mention today, inshallah. Your job in the khutbah is, the main reason of the khutbah is to sit and try to figure out, does she have this, does she meet this condition, number 2, number 3, and you check, and you see how many she meets and how many she doesn't meet. Same thing the sister, when someone proposes for her, she has to study, and she should not be hasty. And as I'm going to mention now, if someone comes to you and he says like are you interrogating me, or you say yes. Yes, we are interrogating you. We need to know. And you know, if someone tells you this, my advice, don't tell them Salaam alaikum. May Allah send you someone better. Don't have relations with them, because they're unaware of the importance of this issue. You're gonna get married once, right? How many? Just once. It's just once. It's not a trial, right? It's not a trial. Let's try. Let's see. No, it's just once. You have to plan. You have to choose. You have to be very, very careful. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam guided us in the hadith narrated by Imam al-Tirmidhi that 3 things when they come, he's telling Sayyidina Ali and us after him. 3 things, don't delay them when they arrive, when they come. Salah when it's time, janazah, funeral prayer, and the single person when you find for her a suitable person. Kufr, someone who suits her. See the word, this is why I got this hadith for this word. Someone who suits her, not anyone. This means not anyone. You have to be careful. In another hadith, he said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, تَخَيَّرُوا لِنُطَفِكُمْ أَنْكِحُوا الْأَكِفَّاء انكحوا الأكفاء وأنكحوا إليهم. He's saying sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, choose who's you're gonna get married to. Look carefully and choose. And get married to those who are fitting and suitable for you. And give your daughters in marriage to those who are fitting and suitable for you. So that was number 1, religion. It is a must that you must have. You must think. You know some Muslims, they don't know this. I have a Muslim brother who was raised in Syria all of his life. He went as a refugee to one of the Sweden or Belgium, I forgot. And he's calling me, he said, I got married to someone, she's an atheist. She's an atheist, and he has been like 1 year married with her. I told him, what, did not the Shaykh know? He said no. Alhamdulillah, after some discussions, and Alhamdulillah, she accepted Islam. But the point is, like, don't think this is like common sense. For some Muslims, they don't even know. So this is why you must learn, and you have to learn. Number 2, righteousness and piety. Righteousness and piety, or righteousness and fitting. Some people, of course, like all of us, we are Muslims, alhamdulillah, but that does not mean we are practicing Muslims necessarily, right? That does not mean like we are righteous Muslims, right? So very important, very important. Now we're not talking about haram, halal, we're talking about now the best interest for you is to get married to a lady, a girl who's a practicing Muslim, who's committed to her religion, who's committed to her hijab, who's committed to her salah, who's committed to her good morals, etc., etc. Same thing for the boys. How you get married to someone who doesn't pray? How? Someone doesn't pray, how you get married to him? Then your children will not pray. Then you will not succeed. You know why? Because he doesn't care about Allah's right. How he's gonna take care about your right? He doesn't care about Allah's right. How he's gonna take care about your right? Right? So righteousness, 2 sides. Righteousness, 2 things here. What I mean. This is why I mentioned righteousness and fitting. What does that mean? Righteousness means in his relationship with Allah and practicing his religion. And number 2 is he fitting? Is he good for marriage? Because the word salah means good. The opposite is corrupt. So he is good for marriage or no? He's good sometimes, he's a hafiz of the Quran, but he's not good for marriage. He doesn't hold responsibility. A sister, she might even cover her face, mashallah, committing even to not only the basic hijab, even extra hijab. But she did not learn how to be an obedient wife. She is not willing to obey her husband, for example. So 2 things about righteousness, and we're going to mention the hadith from our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A person came to Sayyidina al-Hasan radiallahu anhu, and he said, I have a daughter, and many people proposed for her. Who do you think I should give her in marriage to? He said, give her in marriage to someone who fears Allah. Why? Because if he loves her, he will honor her. But if he doesn't love her, he will not wrong her. Right? If someone doesn't fear Allah, when he loves her, he will take care of her, he will honor her. But if he doesn't love her, if she does something wrong, he will wrong her, he will abuse her. But if someone who fears Allah, because someone who fears Allah, he knows Allah will bring him to account if he abuses his wife. He learned from the Quran, Allah says, وَعَسَى Allah says, وَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ فَعَسَى أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. That if you hate something in them, then you might hate something and Allah will make out a lot of good out of it. You see the difference between someone who fears Allah, someone who is a practicing Muslim, someone who is Islamically educated, and someone who doesn't. Another hadith, he told us sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this world is a place of enjoyment, or it is like a thing to enjoy. And the best thing in this world to enjoy living with is a righteous woman. Al-mar'atu salihah. A righteous woman, a good woman. Who is a good woman? Let's see what he says sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who's a good woman? Who's a righteous woman? He said sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the authentic hadith that we mentioned before, the believer will never get anything after taqwa better than a righteous wife. The believer will never get anything after taqwa better than getting a righteous wife. What are the qualities of this righteous wife, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He gives us in the same hadith. He said, if he commands her, she will obey him. She's an obedient wife. Obedient wife. If he looks at her, she will make him happy. Means she takes care of herself, she makes him happy, etc. If he swears on her, or swears that she does something, she will fulfill his oath. And if he's absent, means particularly when he's absent, she will preserve him and herself and in his property. Means she's going to protect his honor and protect his property. That is a righteous wife. Did he mention that she prays a lot? He didn't. Did he mention that she prays at night a lot, she fasts a lot? He didn't. That is the righteous wife. She's an obedient wife, she makes him happy, she helps him, she listens to him, she protects her honor, she protects the house, she protects his property and money. SubhanAllah. This is what Rasulullah ﷺ is telling us about a righteous wife. And he told us, he told the men in the authentic hadith narrated by Imam Bukhari and others. He's saying ﷺ, women usually get married for their lineage, their money, their beauty and their religion. This is why people generally get married for. They get married to a woman for her money, for her lineage, for her beauty, for her deen, for her religion. And he's saying sallallahu alaihi wasallam, choose the one that has the religion. Choose the one that has religion, and don't be hesitant, and work hard to choose the one who has the religion, who's a practicing believer, who's a practicing Muslim. That is the advice of our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another very nice hadith, when they asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, which money or which investment should we get involved in? Listen what he gave them, an amazing answer sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He drew their attention and moved them into another level, another realm, from the materialistic thinking to another realm. He said, let one of you take a heart, لِيَتَّخِذْ أَحَدُكُمْ لِسَانًا ذَاكِرًا, a tongue that is always moist with remembrance of Allah, and a heart that is always grateful to Allah, and a believing wife who will help him in his iman. See, Islam cannot be like more urging and clear than this in telling you, get a righteous wife, and the wife should, and the girl should get a righteous husband, a practicing Muslim. It's not enough that she has hijab, right? It's not enough that she has hijab. And hijab, as I mentioned many times, we have two types of hijab. We have hijab sha'ri, and we have hijab shar'i. Anyone can distinguish between these two words? Every word of them 4 letters, but completely different meanings. Hijab sha'ri means it only covering the hair only. Please get a chair for the sister. Only covering the hair. Is there one? Shar'i means it complies with the Sharia, with the Islamic law. So which hijab is more common now in the Muslim world? At least for me in Damascus, in the capital, the center, the city center, this is the most common. The hair hijab. But it is not the right hijab. Hijab is not only to cover the hair, right? Hijab is to have loose clothing, not a transparent, not tight, not perfumed. These are by consensus of all Muslim scholars, this is the minimum requirement of the right hijab. So if there's a girl that she's not even fulfilling these basics of covering the hair, covering the hands, and having these requirements of hijab, this means there's a big problem. She might be very good, she might be better than someone who covers her face, right? But we're talking about the general rule. She's not willing to comply with the basic requirement of the Muslim lady, or the basic obligation. Of course, she remains a Muslim. Of course, she might be very good, she might be very modest, but do you want your children, your daughters to be like her? She's not going to be able to convince them. She's not going to be able to raise them this way if she herself is not compliant. This is one example, right? This is only an example. Now, how do you know? How do you know? Before before we say how do you know, number 2, the man himself. Rasulullah said sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the authentic hadith in Ibn Majah, if someone comes to you that you're happy with his religion and his good character, give him your daughter in marriage. See? This is why this is second requirement, practicing Muslim. A Muslim who's committed to his religion. Because he's going to be the father of your children. Right? He's going to teach them. So if he's careless, if he doesn't pray, if he's, right? If someone comes to you and you're satisfied with his religion and his character, give him your daughter in marriage. If you don't do, then there will be a lot of corruption and tribulations on earth. corruption will spread, and adultery, and etc. etc. So that is the second important characteristic that you must have. This is you must have. If you don't, if you say, many people we have for example in our country, mashallah, she's a very good girl, and she promised me she's gonna put the hijab. If I marry her, she's gonna put the hijab. This is somehow some people. Well, you take the risk. You take the risk. If she wants to put it for you, this means there is a problem there. Right? She's putting it for you, not for Allah. Right? So there is a problem. If you're ready to take this risk, it's your choice. It's permissible, it's not haram. Huh? It's not haram, but you will take the risk. And we don't advise you to do so. So how do you know this? Of course you know this when you go to them. Before you go to them, you go on Facebook. Now almost every person has Facebook account. You go on YouTube, you go on the social media, you ask Google, try to know about this person, okay? Try to know as much as you can. Try to know from their workplace, from their neighborhood, from the imam of the masjid. Go and ask. Then after you ask and you found there are good signs, okay, now you go to the house. You go to their house and you sit and you start asking. You start asking, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Take your time. This is not like, well, 5 minutes. No, 1 hour, 2 hours, no problem. That is a life, what do they say? Life choice, right? This is a life choice. It's not like something for 1 day, 2 days. This is lifelong decision. Lifelong decision. So take your time, ask people very well, ask about him. Don't say, oh wallah, he looks good, mashallah. Wallah, he prays Jum'ah. Oh really? Mashallah. Maybe he only prays Jum'ah. Who told you? Maybe he only prays Jum'ah. That is a disaster. If he prays only Jum'ah, that's a disaster. That's a big problem, right? Or mashallah, he goes to the masjid. Still, even if he goes to the masjid, you have to go and ask in the workplace. And let your father ask about his friends, this is how, if you're really serious and you want to have, inshallah, a successful marriage. Number 3, so these are common, huh? We're talking about both, wife and husband. Now number 3, also common, is maturity and mental fitness. Maturity and mental fitness. What does that mean? Means this person that you're getting married to doesn't have is not like really still a child. It's someone who's mature, who's aware of marriage, who can manage difficult situations, right? Al-wa'i, in Arabic we say al-wa'i, husn al-tasarruf, behaving right and behaving correctly in the different situations or circumstances. He has basic knowledge about how to manage a house, how to take care of the kids. It's not enough at all. It's not enough at all that, mashallah, he prays and she prays and he knows the Quran and she knows the Quran. Well, if he knows the Quran, mashallah, and he doesn't know how to replace a tire, for example, or if the water overflows in his bathroom, he calls right away. He goes to find someone, and maybe the water will overflow. He's not even willing to go and raise up this thing. And sometimes you just move something very slight and it works. So he has to be responsible. He has to be mature. Some wives, for example, this needs training. You need to teach your children. You need to make them responsible kids. Some wives, if her kid falls and he has a wound, right away she will shout. She will call her husband. Maybe he's half an hour away. Come and see what happened to the blood. And she doesn't know how just to clean him and put a bandage or take care, or just take him or call the ambulance, whatever. Some wives are immature. Some girls are immature. They're not ready. They're not fitting to get married. They might be very righteous, very good, but they're not fitting to get married. They're not ready. Also, some boys, same thing. So you have to be careful. You have to choose well. They mention a story that one time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he proposed to a lady. She was very, very beautiful, and she was like a princess. Like she lived in one of the. She's a daughter of one of the kings of the Arabs. So it seems, and she was very beautiful, and it seems some of the women, they told her, they envied her. They envied her, and they told her, when he sees you, say, I seek refuge with Allah from you. They told her, when you see the Prophet, when he comes, when he enters, say, I seek refuge with Allah from you. So when he entered, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she said that sentence. She said, I seek refuge with Allah from you. He said, you have sought refuge with the right one. Go to your people, go to your family. And he divorced her, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This means what? This means she's immature. She's immature. Like if someone tells you, you say this, you say this. So he's teaching us a lesson, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In one of the hadith, which is more authentic narration, she said she had arrogance. So she's immature. She had arrogance. She said, when he told her, come close to me and offer yourself to me, she said, how can a queen give herself to a lay person? So she had arrogance. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he realized she's still influenced by the ignorance of the pre-Islamic times. So he did not like rebuke her, but he said, he put his hand sallallahu alaihi wasallam on her. He wanted like to make dua or to make her calm down. She said, I seek refuge with Allah from you. He said, you have sought refuge with the right one. Go to your family. So the point is, you have to have someone who is mature enough. Not someone like she finds a roach and she runs out of the house. She sees a cockroach and she runs out of the house. Well, you might get scared a little bit, but you don't run, you don't leave your children, and you don't do something like shows that you're immature, like you're unfitting to get married, right? How do you know if your wife or your future spouse is mature enough and educated enough or not? Also, you ask about their background, you check their Facebook posts, their Facebook comments, how they write, how they behave, what they say, right? And when you go there, ask them questions and wait, let them talk and talk and talk and talk. Same thing, the sister should ask him and let him talk and talk and talk, and you're only observing and trying to analyze and understand, is this person really mature enough? Is he really educated? Does he, like he's ready to lead a family or not? So this is extremely important. The girl, is she able to take care of the kids and help them in their study, help them in their education, right? Because she is going to be the main person, right? Who's going to help the kids most likely. The man is in his work most of the time, so she will be the main person. So you have to be careful and get to know about this. That is number 3. Number 4, as you can see, still we're talking about common characteristics. Number 4, beauty and good looking. Really? Yes. Of course, that is very natural. If someone comes to your daughter, okay, and she doesn't like him, even if he is very good, even if he is like educated, she doesn't like him. Khalas ya akhi, she doesn't like him. There must be like a minimum that she wants to love him, right? They're gonna live for all of their life. So beauty, and Rasulullah told us that people usually get married to someone for their beauty, right? But don't make it as number 1. See, we're mentioning it number 4. Even before number 4, we're mentioning it. Of course, beauty is relative, right? Sometimes someone is beautiful for someone is not, right? So, in this regard, before I move on, I advise myself and the respected brothers and sisters who are already married, take care of your beauty, whether a man or woman, I'm talking to both. Take care of your beauty, take care of your health, make a sport, make exercise, do something that will make you look beautiful in the sight of your spouse. This is Islamically required, Islamically responsible, right? Now, unfortunately, in this day and age, women, unfortunately, especially in this community, in this country, women, they do their best to attract the men. So if you as a wife, you're careless, they will steal him from you. Honestly, they will. And he will either get married to another one or he will do haram stuff. So you're responsible as a wife to attract your husband, to take care of yourself, to beautify yourself, make exercise. This is Islamically required. Same thing, the man, right? Same thing, the man. Sayyiduna al-Mughira bin Shu'bah radiallahu anhu, he said, I proposed to a woman, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told me, listen to the best of teachers, listen to your religion, listen to this amazing way of life that Allah blessed us with. Rasulullah is telling him he's going to get married, he's going to propose to someone. Listen what he's telling him. Did you look at her? He said no. He said, look at her. فَإِنَّهُ أَحْرَى أَن يُؤْذَنَ بَيْنَكُمَا. It's better, so how are you going to have fraternity and love if you don't look at her? The authentic hadith narrated by Imam Ahmad and others. He said, look at her. So go and look at her. So when someone comes to your, to propose for your daughter, don't sit like with them like all the time and keep staring at the person. You don't give him any comfort just to look at your daughter. It's even better and more wise to go and bring them some water or something. Let them be more comfortable to look without closing the door. Okay, in an open space. Let them be free just to look. Okay, and the lady comes and brings something so that he also can look at her, right? Of course, only the hands and the face, nothing more. The hands and the face. Now the job of the mother or the sister or the aunt, they can go on a separate visit. They can see the girl, they can see her without hijab. She can wear clothes, not completely covering clothes so that they see her body, they see her hair, and then they tell him she has like a black hair, she has like a curled hair. That's fine. This is important, right? We don't believe like some people say you should not get to know about anything. Khalas. You're gonna check your luck. What? Check your luck, right? Just see whatever comes to you, yallah, fine. No. Look at this another hadith from our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated by Imam Abu Dawud. He's saying if someone proposed to a woman, if he can look at whatever calls him to get married to her, let him do. Like look at her, whatever thing that you think if you find in her will attract you to her, look. That is the halal look. Here is the time for the halal look. Here is the time for looking, right? Not when you're not ready for marriage and you look in the street, etc., etc. But when you're ready for marriage, look at this hadith. Maybe first time you hear it in your life. Maybe if you heard it, tell me. Narrated by Imam Ahmad. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, authentic hadith. If not authentic, I'm going to mention to you. In this authentic hadith, if someone proposed for a woman, there's no sin on him to look at her if he's looking because he wants to get married to her, even if she doesn't know. Even if she doesn't know you're looking at her. So like you saw someone in a lecture, in the street, in the university, wherever, in the shopping mall. You're honest. You're ready to get married. You're really looking to get married now. It's permissible for you to look without causing disturbance to her and making everyone aware, even if she's not seeing you, right? So for a greater reason, of course, if you're in her family's house, of course you should be given more time, more freedom to look, and for her the same exact thing, right? So as you can see, Islam is a realistic religion, and is very normal, very good. Imam Bukhari narrates a hadith from the wife of Sayyidina Thabit. She came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is very important for the parents. She said, Ya Rasulullah, Thabit, I never find anything wrong in his religion and in his character. SubhanAllah, see what we're talking about, huh? We talked about religion, we talked about maturity. She's saying, لا أعتب على ثابت في دين ولا خلق. I don't find any negative thing in his character, in his commitment to Islam. But I cannot bear him. And they mentioned that he was not good looking. Maybe she did not see him right, maybe she did not get the chance to see him well. She said, I cannot bear him. Now, since she saw him before, and she wanted to withdraw, he told her, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, well, give him his orchard back, and he will divorce you. Tamam? So give her the dowry that he gave you, the orchard, the garden, and he will divorce you because he did not do something wrong and you already know him. So now you're not bearing, okay, so there might be a reason, but look, the point is, she said, I don't find anything negative in his character, in his commitment to Islam. Subhanallah, very important hadith. Sayyidina Umar says, don't force your daughters to get married to a man who's not good looking because they love as you love. They love to get married to someone who's good looking, right? And they mentioned that they gave their daughter in marriage to someone who's an old man and she did not like him, so she killed him. So he said, radiallahu anhu, Sayyidina Umar, oh people, fear Allah. Let the person get married to someone who is close to him or to her. Get married to someone who is close to you. In beauty, in status, etc., etc. That was number 4. Number 5. Any question? Number 5 is not lineage. Some people, they say lineage, but the better word I see here is the family ties, the connection of the family, the connection of the family, the status of the family of the one you're getting married to. And our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's mentioned in one of the hadith, choose for yourselves because the women, they give birth to those who are similar to their siblings. So most likely your children will be similar or will look like or will be similar to their uncles, right? They will be similar to their uncles. They might inherit some of their character, some of their etc., etc. So you have to be careful. Also that the healthy family ties in her family or in his family. Why? If she's living in a family that is disunited, a family that has a lot of problems, what will happen? She will carry that with her. She will transfer this to you. So this is better, okay? Better to know. This is why people ask about her uncle, they ask about her, try to know her paternal uncle, try to ask how are their relations. If he finds like the uncles do not talk to each other, the father does not talk to his wife's relatives, and he finds all these relations are upside down, this is not a good sign. This is not an encouraging sign. So this is something to consider. Number 6, cleanliness and neatness. What? Cleanliness? Yes. There are some divorce cases because of the wife or the husband is unclean, is smelly, he doesn't care. There are divorce cases because of this. And this is why in the authentic hadith narrated by Imam Ahmad that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sent Sulaym radiallahu anha, the mother of Sayyidina Anas, his servant. He sent her to see one of the girls, and he told her, "Shummi awaridaha wanzuri ila urqubayha." He said to her, smell her and look at her shins, look at her legs. Two things. Smell her and look at her shins. In another narration, look at Sulaym, a very smart woman, radiallahu anha, very smart. When Rasulullah came to Al-Madinah, she brought her son, Ya Rasulullah, here's Anas, let him serve you. What a great woman, what an intelligent woman, radiallahu anha. And he became the servant of Rasulullah, one of the great Sahaba. She said, she came to those people, and they came to her, they told her, shall we offer you lunch? She said, no, I'm not going to eat except if so-and-so brings me the lunch. The girl that she came to see. If she brings me the lunch, I'm gonna eat. So when she came, she started staring at her and looking at her, and she told her, come and kiss me, sweetie, come and kiss me. So she came and she was smelling her. So the point is to know cleanliness. Cleanliness, is there a smell in the mouth? Does she take care of her personal hygiene or not? Alhamdulillah, now in an age, alhamdulillah, most people, not all, most people, they take care. But still, even though we're in this century, some people, wallahi, sometimes I cannot stand in front of them. So I don't know how their wives bear them, right? So you have to be careful of this. Sometimes you have a health problem, go check your teeth. Sometimes a stomach problem, sometimes the smell is from the stomach, not from the teeth. So you have to check. you have use things that will help you have good smell, right? If you find someone, advise them, tell them. In direct or indirect way, they will love it. If you find someone, sometimes people don't feel it. So it is important, and look at this amazing lady, how she figured out. And really our women, for me in Syria at least, they're very good at these things. So they know these things, right? So women, they know these things. Our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam also, he was the best example in this. When he will enter his house, he will start with siwak, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he gets up at night, he will start with siwak, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So cleanliness and fitness. If she is not clean, that will cause problems. Neatness, I added this also. The Shaykh did not mention it. I added neatness. Why neatness? You know why? Because sometimes, really, I'm talking to you. I know. I'm married. I have 3 children. I'm 4th on the way, inshallah. Neatness of the house. If the wife really is careless, she doesn't make the house neat, really you cannot work, you cannot sit, you'll get annoyed, right? Especially like if someone he's neat in his life, and he sees the house like the clothes are here, the socks are there, the shoes are there, he wants to get like a cup, he doesn't find, he wants to get a spoon, he doesn't find, like this causes a lot of problems. This causes a lot of problems. So a woman should be neat and clean, and the husband also should be clean and neat. Number 7, and finally, of those common characteristics is that he should not be a close relative. Should not be a close relative. That's not haram. That's not haram, but Shafi'is and Hanbalis, they say it's makruh. It's not preferable. Why it's not preferable? If I see my cousin, mashallah, he's amazing, good looking, practicing Muslim, responsible kid, etc., etc. I cannot get married to him. I know him all of my life. Well, Shafis and Hanbalis, they say it's not preferable. Why? They said, number 1, if there are problems, then there will be cutting the relations. The whole families will be fragmented. The second reason they mentioned, because there are some traditions that indicate this, that tells us move away from relatives because the children might be unhealthy. Now, when I go to a doctor, a main question they ask us, is your wife relative to you, related to you? Scientifically, the more close to your spouse, there is more possibility of diseases that are transferred by inheritance, right? So this is scientifically proven, right? But they make some examinations, like myself, because my wife is my cousin, so I was the first one not to take this advice from our sheikhs, even though our sheikhs, they told us really this, and they know some families really this, they know by personally, some families, they get married to relatives, then they have children, and then the children at certain age, they die because of certain diseases. What we do is, you do medical examination before, and they made this like mandatory in Syria. Before you continue the contract, you have to make medical examination for you and her, and if the health professionals say it's okay, so it's okay, inshallah. So we're not talking about something haram, but what is important, more important than this is, we're saying should not be relative, should not be close to you. But on the other hand, it should be close to you, she should be close to you, you should be close to her in the culture, the language, the financial status, social habits, educational level, age, all of these factors that I have mentioned, the vast majority of the scholars, they say it is important. I'm not going to say more than this word. It is very important to get married to someone who's close to you. Why? Obviously, someone who's from your same country, same culture, close, less possibility of discord, right or no? Less possibility of problems, right or no? But someone from another country, wallahi, I know at least 8 people, Arabs, they got married to non-Arabs. particularly Americans. I know 8, at least the ones I know, 8 in this place, in this country, in this city. 8 people, all of them divorced their non-Arab wives, and they got married. They went back to their Arab countries, and they brought Arab wives. This is what the reality tells. And some of them, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, they get married just for some time. That's absolutely haram, forbidden. It's not amusement. You're giving a very wrong picture about Islam to others. Anyway, try to find someone who's close to your culture, close to your financial level. Why I'm saying this? Is Islam like differentiates between poor and rich? Never. But because our akhlaq, our character, our morals are not in that level, that no, I'm gonna get married even if he's very poor and I'm very rich, I'm gonna get married to him. Well, we'll see. If you're in that level of akhlaq, good for you. We encourage you. But generally speaking, we're not in that level. So better get married to someone who's from your culture, from your close class, okay, close level, education, financially, socially, etc. It is much better, okay? And the scholars, the vast majority of the scholars, they mentioned that this is something that is required. These are the 7 common qualities that, as you can see, some of them are a must. You must find them in your spouse and your future spouse before you get married to them. They must be there. He must be practicing. He should be practicing Muslim. Don't take the risk, right? And for you now as a Muslim, this is what Islam teaches. So commit to your Islam and be a practicing Muslim and come and learn and attend circles of knowledge and circles of dhikr. For me, for example, if someone comes for my daughter, for example, in the future, if he doesn't have a sheikh that he attends with and who knows him very well, I'm not going to give him my daughter in marriage. If he doesn't have a circle of knowledge, wallahi, I'm not going to give him. How he learns his religion? From the Friday khutbah that is 5 minutes in Arabic, and he comes in the last minute, from this 5-minute khutbah and in Arabic. He does not even come to the English part, and he's going to learn his religion from there. If someone doesn't have a sheikh, doesn't attend with a sheikh regularly, he's learning his religion in a systematic way and going through spiritual purification with someone who helps him, how am I going to trust him with my daughter or with my son? No. So try, inshallah, to be aware of these important things. Inshallah, 2 qualities special for the women and 2 qualities special for the man. And then we'll talk about love.
As you walk together hand in hand, Allah has given you a companion and friend to stand and always be seen as man and wife, fulfilling their deen. From this day on, forever be true. Cherish this life that's destined for you. Live your life with kindness and care. Remember, Allah will always be there, be there. Nikahun mubarakun, zawajun mubarakun, النكاح من سنتي